I call this meeting of the Davenport Community School District Board of Directors to order. I apologize for the late start. Director Gosa will be participating by phone. Yeah. Yes. Hello? Can you guys hear me? All right. I called this meeting to order about a minute ago. And then I was just indicating that Director Gosa is absent, but he will be participating by phone later on in the meeting. So we'll go ahead and get started. And Director Beck, would you please read our board priorities?
Gladly. The Davenport School Board establishes the following priorities to ensure the academic success of all students. Provide leadership and direction to improve the overall learning environment in our classrooms, schools, and district, including the health, safety, security, and happiness of students and staff. Direct and support actions, programs, and activities which reduce the impacts of poverty on our students, their families, and our community.
Thank you. Thank you. And Director Hayes, would you please read our mission and vision statements?
I'll be happy to. The mission statement is to enhance each student's abilities by providing a quality education enriched by our diverse community. Education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires our students, parents, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Thank you. Before we move forward in our meeting, the next step in our agenda is showcase. But before we get there, I want to make a change to the agenda. For a number of reasons, I'm going to remove agenda item 11.06, approval of district developed special education plan. We've been informed that some people had not had an opportunity to respond to the whatever is on our website that solicits responses and whatever people would like to put on there. And so I'm simply going to take it off the agenda. It will not be voted on. It will not be discussed tonight. And the agenda committee will make a decision on when that will be reconsidered. So, other than that, we'll continue with our showcase and the rest of the meeting, which should be lively and a lot of fun. Mr. Schneiden.
We have with us this evening Principal Laura Finn from Adams Elementary School.
Good evening. We are here to showcase our partnership with St. Ambrose University. So we have been working with St. Ambrose students at Adams Elementary School on reading skills. St. Ambrose students actually have been helping our students at Adams since 2002 on reading skills. These students that are enrolled in the Reading Methods coursework at St. Ambrose University are paired then with students at Adams who are identified as struggling readers or just need that added boost. The students work together for 30 minutes once a week in the fall, and then we also have a spring program where they work twice a week for 30 minutes. Here are some pictures of this in action. The professor at Ambrose is Deanna Stubbe, and she was not able to be here last minute, but she did want to come in and make sure that she really appreciates the opportunity that her students have to continue their education as well as supporting our students at Adams. So here is some growth data. These students in the fall were all the students that were in the fall program did make growth on our CBM, our FAST data. The highest score that a student grew was 48 words per minute from fall to winter, and then the lowest growth score was 2 words per minute. But we had an average growth with this group of students, there were 16 in the fall, of 27 words per minute. So we were pretty excited about that. And then our spring data, the students that were in the spring program, we had 14 students in that, so 30 students over the course of the year. Those students grew as well. Every student made from winter to spring benchmark. And the highest growth was 30 words per minute, and then that lowest growth score was 4 words per minute with an average of 15 words per minute. So we know this works. So I have with us today Dawn Kelly. She is a special ed teacher at Adams, as well as a mentor teacher, and Dawn helped, she's in a graduate program getting her administrative degree. And so Dawn helped put all of this together and coordinate this program. So she's going to introduce the Ambrose students that worked specifically at Adams.
Okay, first I'm going to introduce Haley, and Haley was a former 5th grade student of mine and is now going to be a teacher, so that's great, and Lauren, and they would like to tell you a little bit about their experience at Adams and the fun that they had working with our students.
Hi, I'm Haley Brower. As Dawn mentioned previously, I was a former student of Adams. I went to Adams from kindergarten through 5th grade. And my younger sister was actually a student in this program at Well. She was a struggling reader, and she now excels at reading. She'll be entering high school next year. But I find a lot of benefits from this partnership. As a future educator, I learned how to give various assessments. I learned how to determine a student's reading level. I learned how to create lessons based off of those assessments and reading levels. I learned how to reflect on my own teaching. And then I learned how to create lessons that allowed for my student to really be engaged in their reading and writing and have meaningful reading and writing experiences. So it was really nice to get that experience. And then I felt really lucky to be a part of this because Adams is where I learned that I wanted to be a teacher and where I learned to love reading. So it was kind of nice to go back and give back to those students.
Hi, my name is Lauren Anderson, and I am also a St. Ambrose student. I have been born and raised in the Quad Cities as well. I thoroughly enjoyed the reading program with Adams students. As Haley said, we were able to learn how to give these reading assessments and learn how to do lesson plans. This program is like nothing I've ever experienced before. It really allowed us to become the teachers. It was our responsibility to come up with these lesson plans each time. And working with the kids was wonderful as well. And specifically for my student that I was able to work with, just seeing the confidence grow in them as we progressed through tutoring was amazing to see. And yeah, I just want to thank Adams School for allowing us to be partners with them and be a part of this amazing experience.
Thank you. So again, like I said, this partnership has benefited both students at St. Ambrose as well as more than 600 students throughout the years from Adams Elementary School, Haley being one of them. One of the students this year, this is Sophie Cheek. Sophie, is a 3rd grader at Adams, and she wants to share with you about her experiences in the reading program. She's written it out very carefully.
My teacher's name was Mr. Steven. He made reading fun for me. When we met after school, he always asked me about my day. And we talked about my favorite things and even made a binder all decorated with cats. We played games and practiced my reading. When I learned something new, we put it on in my binder. And I got to take my binder home when we were all done. I'm excited to be a better reader and to succeed.
So as you can see, this not only is benefiting the students at Adams, but also the students at St. Ambrose University. When Mrs. Stubbe reached out to me and asked if, this is my first year at Adams, she reached out and asked if in the last spring, if this was something we would consider continuing. And of course, my first word was absolutely. And as you can see why, this is most certainly an opportunity that Adams would not want to be a part of. So we're very grateful to St. Ambrose as well. So that's all that we have, and we're excited about that opportunity.
Questions or comments
I have questions for you, Sophie.
from the board? Director Beck.
First of all, thank you for sharing. And Sophie, you are an excellent reader, so I'm really impressed. You did a great job as well. So a couple questions. The students at St. Ambrose, how are they chosen to do this, and what kind of training do they get? And is it part of just the education program, or is it anybody in a particular class, or how does it work?
Yeah. So it's part of
You
a
can come
class.
up to the microphone.
It's a part of a class, so all education majors there's two parts to it. There's a regular reading clinic and then advanced. Everyone takes regular, and then all reading endorsements take advanced. So like I'm a reading endorsement, so it's a part of our class. And so in our class, that's where we learn how to do all the various assessments and write our lessons.
Okay, cool.
Director DeSalvo.
Sophie, I am so proud of you. I want you to read all summer long, okay? Keep it going because you're doing really, really good, and we are all very proud of you. You speak very well. You read very well. Keep it going. And those behind you, keep them coming up, too. And Ambrose, go SAU. I'm an SAU grad. Way to go. This is a wonderful, wonderful program. I think we should try to expand it to other schools because it's a great opportunity for our kids as well as those up-and-coming teachers that we need in this district. So thank you for participating and being here tonight.
Anybody else? Director Beck.
Follow up, sorry. So how long has this been going?
Since 2002.
2002, okay. And are there any plans to expand it to other schools?
Selfishly, I have no idea.
I don't know how many SAU students there are anyway that
So,
would be
yeah,
available.
I'm not sure how many are
Yeah.
in their class and, per semester.
Okay.
But we're not interested in.
Yeah, I understand.
We'll
I
happily
understand.
share. All means all.
Yeah.
We will share. But we're going to keep it at our building for sure.
I'm really impressed with the scores going up as well. That's really impressive, and the fact that it's student teachers who are doing it is really great. So a question for Sophie: was this one of your favorite parts of the school year?
Well, actually, all the parts are the favorite.
Oh yeah. Did you have a favorite story or book you read this year?
It was like when a girl, she was looking for some berries, and then she went to this house, and it was crazy with this lady because she had a house with chicken feet.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, keep reading. We're really proud of you, and we're really impressed with this program. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to recognitions. And the first recognition tonight, and we have a lot of them, but first we're going to recognize our student school board members who have served for the 2017-2018 school year. And so we have 3 of them here tonight, as far as I can tell. And I will call them up in a minute. There's 2 seated, and there's 1 seated back in the audience. Is this one working? Can you hear it? Okay. So several of our student school board members were not able to be here tonight, and so I'm going to just read their names and their schools, and then we'll present to the three that are here. Katie Sturmer represented North High School. Larry Ferguson represented North High School. Samantha Nixich represented Mid-City High School. Connor Bedell represented Central High School. Andrew Wright represented West High School. Zaria Flake. Zaria, now you're in the audience, but you represented Central High School, if you'd come up here for a minute. And so student board members, and they don't always come to every meeting, but sometimes it's always good for us to get their perspective, and it's really important. And we have obviously a whole different group of student board members each year. And we're always very appreciative, though, of the work that they put in. And so I just want to say thank you, Zaria, for the work that you helped us with. Thank you very much. Shane Eckert from West High School. So I didn't get a chance to know you real well this year. I got a chance to interact a little bit, but again, Shane was very, what would I say? Well, it's not just intuitive, he was very thoughtful. I will say that in the things that he did consider. And so I just wanted to say thank you very much, good luck in whatever you're doing.
Thank you.
And the last student school board member that's here is Madison Cousins. And I have to say that I've had an opportunity to work with Madison not only at the school board but on other committees. And it's been over the past probably at least 3 years, maybe more. But it's been a lot of fun. Madison has helped us in so many ways, not only at the school board, but she's helped us at the legislature, helped getting some of the legal issues that we've been addressing actually moving, and helping to work with our students throughout the district and actually throughout the state in helping to move that. So I wanted to say thank you. And she was almost always here. And I got to tell you, you know, sometimes it's like 10:30 at night, and I feel so bad because it's like I'm thinking they have to get back and get their homework done and all this other stuff, and here they are listening to some boring issue on policy, you know. But she stuck it out a lot, so thank you very much for everything, Madison, and congratulations and good luck. Okay, next is the Davenport Schools Foundation Scholarship recipients. Looks like, Amy, are you going to direct this?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening and welcome. Thank you to the Davenport School Board for this opportunity. I am Amy Wells, Executive Director for the Davenport Schools Foundation. The foundation has been in existence since 1987, and our mission has been to provide resources to enhance educational opportunities and experiences available to students within the district. This mission is best displayed through our Outstanding Scholarship Program and our Great Minds Program, which funds both mini grants for individual classrooms and also district-wide programming in partnership with the district curriculum department. Through our Great Minds program, every student grade K through 8 is given the opportunity to attend unique curriculum-driven experiential learning field trips to places like the ballet, the symphony, Figge Art Museum, River Music Experience, Niabi Zoo, and other community resources that truly enhance their learning experiences. our program is very unique in the Quad Cities, proving yet again that we truly are a district of distinction. Our foundation is a 15-member board who enjoys a positive working relationship with key administrators here in the district and in the individual buildings. We especially would like to recognize Dr. Art Tate and the district liaison, Rachel Steiner, in the back of the room. Thank you for supporting this mutually beneficial experience. Tonight, we are celebrating the graduating class of 2018. This class has been awarded $76,700 in scholarships from the Davenport Schools Foundation. There were 43 awards given, covering 34 scholarships. Tonight, I have the honor of introducing several of these young men and women to you, as well as their parents who accompanied them tonight. In addition, the foundation will write an additional $17,250 in checks for winners of multi-year scholarships from the past 3 years, for a grand total of $93,950,000 in scholarships for 2018. Before I introduce the winners, I would like to acknowledge our scholarship co-chairs, Manny Fritz and Sherry Fries, for all their work in selecting the winners, as well as members of the Foundation Scholarship Selection Committee. I don't believe any of them are here tonight, but that committee is Barb Riley, Tom Kettleson, Marilyn Peters, Susan Perry, Dan Reefy, and Craig Van Hook. I would also like to commend and thank the numerous retirees, graduates, counselors, and teachers throughout the district that help with the special selection teams. And I must offer a special salute to our donors, some of whom are here in the audience tonight, who create and add to the scholarship funds each year. They play a quiet but very significant role in the process. We truly appreciate their vision and generosity. Thank you, donors. Soon our winners will go through a milestone graduation at the iWireless Center. It will be a big day for them and their families. We wish them all the best as they continue their education and training. Please hold your applause until all are introduced. We have quite a group of them tonight. At the end, we will photograph all the scholarship recipients with the school board in front of the room. At this time, I'd like to ask all the scholarship recipients to please make your way to the front of the room, and let's just make a line across here. Come on up. Let's just make a line, maybe from right here with just freeze across. Huh? No, nope. Let's just make a line. Hop on in here. So how this is going to work, I'm going to call your name, and we'd like to have you step forward. I may or may not have the names of your parents, and I may or may not have the name of the college you're attending. So if I don't announce that, if you would please acknowledge your parents. Parents, as we introduce your children, if you would please stand. And again, hold your applause till we're all done. After you've been introduced, I'd like to ask you to make your rounds to the school board members, shake their hands. We will continue introducing the next people and then just come back in line. If you've received 2 scholarships, you're going to get announced twice. So here we go. And I have promised one recipient that has to get out of here early for another. Courtney Schaefer. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Courtney Schaefer is the recipient of the Jack L. Hudson Scholarship for $500 and is also the recipient of the Catherine Bell Tate Scholarship, which is $16,000 paid out over 4 years. Congratulations. Make your rounds back. All right. Alexis Newton. Alexis is the recipient of the Betty Nelson Career Technical Scholarship. She is a graduate of Central High School. Her parents are Jennifer Ward and Andrew Newton, and she plans to attend Scott Community College. Let's try to hold the, and stay at, oh, Courtney, you have to leave though. That's right. Okay. Sorry. Eric Osterkamp, I don't believe is here. He is also the recipient of the Betty Nelson Career Technical Scholarship, a graduate of Central. His parents are Rebecca and Matthew Osterkamp. Bratiana Hare, are you here? Not sure if she was attending. She is also the recipient of the Betty Nelson Career Technical Scholarship of $600. She is a graduate of Mid-City High. Her parents are Chrissy and Brian Hare. McKinley Kirk. No. McKinley is also a recipient of our Betty Nelson Career Technical Scholarship, graduate of West High School. McKenna Rommel. Oh, okay. McKenna is the recipient of the Brian Kepi Memorial Scholarship and is a graduate of West High. Parents are Tracy and Kevin Rommel. Abigail Lance. I don't believe you're here either. Okay. Abigail is the recipient of the Buttleman Arbisier Journalism Scholarship for $1,000, a graduate of Central High School, and parents are Paula and Wayne Lance. At this time, I'd like to introduce one of our donors to the scholarship funds, Ms. Cynthia Henry, to present the Carol Herring Memorial Scholarships.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. My mother taught for over 40 years, most of that time here in Davenport, Eisenhower, before that McKinley, and she always valued children. And if any of you were, she was a kindergarten teacher, and she always said, quoted Dr. Seuss and said, "A person is a person, no matter how small." And she treated them like kings and queens. So it's my honor to be able to present the Carol Herring Memorial Scholarship Awards this year. Alyssa Duran is getting a $700 scholarship, and she's going to the University of Northern Iowa. I'm sorry. St. Ambrose, oops. And we also have Jordan Driscoll going to the University of Northern Iowa. And Emma Siskowski also receiving a $700 scholarship from the University of Northern Iowa. It's our honor and pleasure that we could give you this award in my mother's memory. And we come up from Florida just to do this, just to see them, and we're so glad they're here. Thank you very much.
Andrew Thompson is our next recipient, and I don't believe he is here. He is the recipient of the Central High School Class of '79 Scholarship, graduate of Central High School. Parents are Trudy and Jeremy Thompson. This scholarship is the first year that we have issued this scholarship, and it stemmed from a class reunion several years ago. When the class of '79 decided to create this scholarship. So we're thrilled to have it in our repertoire of scholarships. Is Andrew Shy. He is the recipient of the one of the Central High School Hall of Honor scholarships of $1,500, a graduate of Central. Parents are Diana and Tom Shy. Olivia Tobin. Olivia is the recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Fisher Scholarship of $1,500, a graduate of Central High School. Parents are Cynthia and John Tobin. Hunter Bolt. Hunter is the recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Jim Gronenberg Boom Scholarship of $1,500, a graduate of Central. Parents are Jason Bolt and Stacy Bolt. This also is a first-time scholarship for us for the Hall of Honor. Zariah Flake. Zariah is the recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Jim Hester Scholarship of $1,500, graduate of Central. Parents are Demetria and William Flake. Logan Myers. Not here. Logan is the recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Keith Jurgens Award of $1,500, graduate of Central. Parents are Mary Beth and Chris Myers. Martin Leahy, recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Kniep Scholarship of $1,500, graduate of Central. Parents are Susan and Marcus Leahy. Maria Duran Sanchez. Oh, I thought she was coming. Recipient of the Central High School Hall of Honor Meyer Award for $1,500, graduate of Central, and parents are Jose and Maria Duran Sanchez. Audrey Moon. Audrey is the recipient of the Class of '59 Scholarship for $1,000, a graduate of Central. Parents are Whitney and Jennifer Moon. Tracy Tran. Tracy is the recipient of the Davenport Schools Foundation Scholarship of $1,000, graduate of Davenport North. And your parents are Tran, Wynn, and Tro-Tran. Thank you. John Nicolopoulos. Thank you. John is the recipient of the Davenport Schools Future Educator Scholarship. He's a graduate of Central. His parents are Anastasia and Lyles Nicolopoulos. The dollar amount of his scholarship is yet to be determined. This will be the last year that we are issuing this scholarship as the funds are being used up. All right. Alyssa Duran, recipient of the Davenport Schools Future Educator Scholarship from North High School. Her parents are Becky and Philip Duran, and the amount of this scholarship, again, is yet to be determined based on investments. Congratulations. Molly Kretschmer. Oh, Molly is also the recipient of our third Davenport Schools Future Educator Scholarship from West High School. Her parents are Deb and Mark Kretschmer. Grace Estes. Grace is the recipient of the Dr. Lisa Arbisier Scholarship for $500. She is a graduate of Central. Her parents are Melissa and James Estes. Alexander Hunt. Alexander is the recipient of the Friends of West Scholarship for $500. He is a student at Davenport West. Parents are Christy Tackett Hunt and Alan Hunt. Jordan Murphy Hunt is the recipient of the George E. Weiss Career Technical Scholarship of $500, a graduate of Davenport West. His parents are Christy Tackett Hunt and Alan Hunt. Audrey Moon. Audrey is the recipient of the Hana Fujiwara Weiss Scholarship of $4,000. She is a graduate of Central. Her parents are Whitney and Jennifer Moon. A.J. Williams is the recipient of the Hana Fujiwara Weiss Scholarship, graduate of Central High School. The scholarship is a $4,000 scholarship, and his mother is Betty Williams. Madison Cousins. Madison is the recipient of the Helen G. Poling Scholarship for $1,200. She is a graduate of Davenport West, and her parents are Heather and Aaron Cousins. Alexander Richter. Alex is another recipient of the Helen Poling Scholarship of $1,200. He is a graduate of Central. His parents are Tina and Mark Richter. Catherine Sturmer. Catherine Sturmer is also the recipient of our third Helen G. Poling Scholarship. She is a graduate of Davenport North. Parents are Jody and Kurt Sturmer. Shane Eckhart. Shane is the recipient of the Jack King Music Scholarship of $1,500. He is a graduate of Davenport West, and your parents are?
My parents are Sean and Stephanie Eckhart, but my mom is here tonight. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Jordan Driscoll. Jordan is the recipient of the Jan Mutum Educator Opportunity Scholarship of $10,000. She is a graduate of Davenport West. Her parents are Carrie Thiessen and Daniel Driscoll. Olivia Tobin. Olivia is the recipient of the Jane Grady Memorial Scholarship for Academic Excellence of $5,000, a graduate of Central. Her parents are Cynthia and John Tobin. Aubrey Verdon is the recipient of the Jerry Jurgens Athletic Academic Scholarship of $1,000. She is graduating from Central, and parents are Michael and Matt Verdon. Andrew Shy is not here. Is also the recipient of our second Jerry Jurgens Athletic Academic Scholarship of $1,000. Graduate from Central. His parents are Diane and Tom Shy. Cameron Reed. Cameron is the recipient of the Joan Kohlberg Lowen Scholarship of $4,000. She is a graduate of Davenport North, and her parents are Cynthia and Jeffrey Reed. Kirsten Cayley. Kirsten is the recipient of our Marie Link Powell Scholarship of $1,000, a graduate of Davenport West, and her parents are Colleen and Kevin Cayley. Sophia Buckley, not here. She is the recipient of the Mary Means Memorial Scholarship of $2,000 from Davenport West. Her parents are Shannon and Matt Buckley. Grace Estes. Grace is the recipient of our Michaela Rose Duvall Memorial Scholarship of $500, a graduate of Central. Her parents are Melissa and Jim Estes. Cameron Reed. Cameron is the recipient of the North High Music Scholarship of $500, graduate of North. Her parents are Cynthia and Jeffrey Reed. Molly Kretschmer, not here. Recipient of the West High Music Scholarship for $500, a graduate of Davenport West. Her parents are Deb and Mark Kretschmer. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our 2018 scholarship recipients. Congratulations. At this time, yeah, you may have to stand at the back or on a chair.
Let me help organize it first.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'll turn the screen off.
Now, I told all the North parents, somebody has to replace me because I say, now everybody look over at the cameras on this side. For five, everybody, hey, wait, everybody over here for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Everybody look in the center. 3, 2, 1. Everybody look over there. And they tell me they like it, but I said I'm not coming back next year to do it.
This is really going to be
It started on soccer.
Look at Norm.
Here we go, right now. Ready, set.
Thank you all very much for coming. You are
Nobody minded that.
Hey, hang on a minute. Did you want them to stay up here or what? Okay. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a few comments up here. Yeah. Yeah, so so this is a great event, and it's one that we don't have very often. And so I would like to open this up to the board if there's anything you'd like to say. Director DeSalvo.
These are the moments that make me incredibly proud of this district. We have amazing students. We have amazing staff. And people that choose not to come to this district, shame on you. Look behind me. 76,000, I think it was 93,000, correct me, 90-some thousand dollars in scholarships given to our students because of their academic success, because of the things that they do outside of the classroom between band and sports. These are amazing kids. This is what this district is about, and I am incredibly proud of all of you. Way to go.
That's what it's about.
Thank you for that. Okay, Director Hayes.
I was actually going to save my voice tonight, but it's hardly worth just sitting still on this. I'm so proud of each one of you. The only thing I would like to see differently is that we could really, really celebrate all the names of the scholarships and the total amount, because some of them were coming around more than once, and just to get their total amount and just really show you how proud we are of each one of you. Wherever you go from here, keep up the good work. And come back and share it with us.
I'm sure there's a little more. Director Mayfield?
Well, I'd like to congratulate you for the great job that you've done. I know the hard work, the ethic that it takes, the discipline to get you where you're at. And I applaud you for that, because that's not something everyone has, but everyone has the potential. And you've showed it, not just talked about it. So thank you for what you've done.
Anybody else? Oh, Director Beck.
Congratulations to all of you. Excellent work.
So it's kind of warm up here, and well, it is. And probably you guys are feeling the heat too a little bit. You know, this is such a great time of the year. It's an opportunity for all of us to think. And I have to say, I've been thinking about every single student in our district. And it's hard, because we have a lot of students in our district. But I think about how each of you is so special. Everything that you do, this is just one little piece of it. And then I think about everything that got you here. And part of it is yourself, and a big part of it is your parents, your friends. There are a lot of people that have influenced you, but I always try to think about how important our parents are. And I wanted to thank all of you parents and community members out there that have supported these fantastic kids. And I want to thank the foundation too. I mean, this is just amazing, and it's one of the opportunities at the board table you can really get excited, like Director DeSalvo did, and say, yeah, you know, I because normally it's a little bit more subdued than that. But anyway, thank you everybody here, and thank you all of you fantastic students for everything you've done, and good luck in your future. So, all right. So now, Amy, if you want to release them, go ahead.
Yes.
All right.
The scholarship recipients and your families are welcome to leave. And I do think if you're a Herring Scholarship recipient, Cynthia would like to get a group picture with you. So meet her out in the hall by the elevators. Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it looks like it's settled down a little bit. We'll go ahead. I understand. No, I wouldn't forget her. She had to excuse herself for a couple of minutes. So we'll go ahead and continue with our meeting. Next is student board reports. Mr. Schneiden?
I just have Madison to call on tonight.
Hi. So we've had quite an exciting meeting already, but let's keep the ball rolling. So the school year is coming to an end, but there's still some things that we need to honor. So graduation for all three schools, including West, is on Sunday. We're so close. This is a very big day for all seniors, and it's time to honor all of their efforts and achievements. So we're very proud of all of our graduating seniors. Additionally, graduating seniors have been invited to walk the halls of their elementary schools on Friday. And they're excited to inspire and encourage young minds across Davenport. And I know I will be attending my walk to halls. I actually went to Adams K through 5, so that was very exciting for me, but excited to experience that. Our medieval club hosted a medieval fair at Jackson Elementary where students got to learn about and experience medieval instruments, dance, bread making, Celtic games, and more. It was a fun, hands-on experience for all involved, and I know that that's a relationship that our medieval club is excited to continue. And then, though the school year may be winding down, the softball and baseball teams at West are just winding up. We are beginning the season on a great note with the softball teams winning their first games. So we're very proud of them, and I know that softball had a game tonight, so we're really hoping that they have a good time. And then this is our last school board meeting for student school board representatives, and I know I speak for all of the West reps when I say thank you all so much for this experience. The Davenport School District has truly been a great place to learn and grow, and this experience has really contributed to that. So thank you very much.
That concludes her report.
That's probably going to be the last one she gives. Is that right, Madison? Last one, unless you come back and visit us sometime. So we'll break with tradition a little bit. And again, if there's any comments, questions that the board members would like to make with the one student board member that we have here, go ahead, Director DeSalvo.
Madison, I've known you for several years now. We've got involved in a lot of fun with legislation visits and sessions. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you for sticking it out. I know Ralph acknowledged that earlier. I'm sorry, President Johansson acknowledged that earlier, that you stuck it out many, many a night when we were in some pretty dry discussions. So thank you for that. Thanks for your leadership. Good luck next year. Go Hawkeyes. I know a lot of kids up there that will be there to help you, that you're going to need it. But you've done really, really good things, and keep in touch because we want to know where you're going from here, because I know the sky's the limit for you. So keep up the great work. We're very proud of you.
Anybody else? Oh, what she said and ditto. Okay. And I guess, and I'll probably make a few more comments another time, Madison, but I just have to express my incredulity, I guess I would say. I think Madison is one of the most amazing people overall. And we have some great, great students out there. But I was serious when I was talking about homework, you know, and when you look at everything that she's attained, and when you look at her dedication to the legislative advocacy, and I think last summer was probably one of those that made me feel kind of small, because it's like, oh, you know, we finally get a break, and then Madison is going, hey, come on, let's get on this and this and this. She has more go power, more gumption, more, feels like everything. And so I got to tell you, Madison, I've been thinking about you as you're a leader in our community, a leader in our schools, and with some of the things that you're doing in your future adventure, I have every anticipation that you're going to be a fantastic leader in our country and perhaps our world. And I'm really serious. It's such a thrill just to know you and to have been a small part of whatever you're doing. So I wanted to say thank you, not only for everything you did for us on the school board, but as a fantastic person and helping me grow. I want to say a personal thank you. So I'll leave it at that. If there's nothing else, thanks again. And that's it for the student board reports. Okay, are there any board reports? Director Beck.
I had the opportunity to tour the student build home. I can't remember what day it was exactly. And that was a fantastic experience. The students who did the tour, I happened to have a tour from a Davenport West student. He did a fantastic job, and the house itself was amazing. I was really impressed that they were involved in every aspect of building that house. And I asked several of the other students there, not all of them were from Davenport, whether they planned on using the skills that they built there and whether they'd been building before. And the vast majority of them said no, they'd never done anything like that, or maybe a little drywall here, but nothing as major as that. And they all were looking forward to using it in the future, either entering the building trades directly or in some sort of administrative capacity. They were really impressive, and the house itself was really impressive. So it's a great program.
Any other board reports? The only one I would echo Director Beck's comments, and it was just fantastic, although it was a little warm there that evening too. But the students were really engaged, and they had great plans. And I have to say that seeing that, and that house had already sold by the time we got there. And it caused me to think a lot about some additional things as we move forward in some of the additional curriculum issues that we're dealing with. So thanks to all of those, and I'll say a personal thank you to the student that gave me the tour was Connor Saul, and he just did a great job of tour. So thank you very much for all of that. No more board reports? All right, we'll move on to communications. And Director DeSalvo, would you please read our upcoming events?
I'd be happy to. May 30th. Oh, do we need to do that right now? No. May 30th, the Mid-City graduation is at 7 p.m. at Central High School Performing Arts Center. June 3rd, Sunday, graduation at the Tax Slayer Center. From 11 o'clock will be the West High graduation, 2 p.m. is Central, and 4:30 p.m. is North. June 4th, Monday, Committee of the Whole meeting at 5:30 here in the ASC Jim Hester Boardroom. June 11th, Monday, regular board meeting at 6 p.m. in the ASC Jim Hester Boardroom. June 12th, Tuesday, there's a public forum from 6 to 7:30 at in the West High School Auditorium. June 25th, Monday, regular meeting, 6 p.m. in the ASC Jim Hester Boardroom. And there is a date change for the September Vision 2020 public forum. It will now be Wednesday, September 5th from 6 to 7:30 at North High School Auditorium. It was previously noted was going to be on September 12th. Again, that will now be September 5th. You may also share your thoughts and questions or concerns at our feedback webpage.
All right, thank you very much. Next is open forum. Oh.
Dan Gosa, can you hear me? Dan Gosa, can you hear me? Dan Gosa. Dan, can you hear me? It's not working. Dan Gosa. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
No, you smart Alec. He heard me the whole time.
I mean, I could hear you. You just couldn't hear me responding to.
All right, so it sounds like Director Gosa is here, and we'll continue with our meeting. We were just getting into open forum, Dan. We'll give it a couple more tries. It's an opportunity for us to excel.
Tell me when, Mary. Ready?
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on broadcast again, okay? All right. Okay.
Dan, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. We'll continue. So, open forum is a time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. Individuals who want to speak should fill out an open forum request and give it to the board secretary prior to open forum. The board will not act on any issue presented during open forum if it was not published as an agenda item. The Iowa Open Meetings Law prohibits action on any issue that is not on the agenda. The president will set the amount of time allowed for individuals to speak during open forum. The board asks that no charges or complaints be made against individual employees of the district or community during open forum. Remarks that reflect negatively on the character or motives of any person will be called out of order. All right, we have a number of open forum requests. One open forum request had been made specifically earlier, and I did allow an additional couple of minutes for that presentation, which will be at the end, and that's by Larry Guy. Your open forum will be at the end. We're going to start with Katarina Bolton, Tara Witherow, and Savannah D. Megan Long, Carrie Dugan, Larry Guy. And I'll allow 3 minutes for all of the other open forum presentations. We'll start with Katarina. Give us your name and address when you come up here to the microphone.
Katarina Bolton, address is 1920 Walling Court in Davenport, Iowa. You guys are probably tired of seeing me all the time for one thing or another. So I just want to make sure I keep the mood light. So I am glad that the special ed plan was tabled or pulled off the agenda. I appreciate that because we, myself along with other parents that were present, did not agree with the plan, and we were not told that the plan was being made public after that meeting on the 25th of April. So for the record, I want to publicly say that I do not agree with the plan, and I do not give my consent to be related to the plan, showing that I gave approval for that as the document mentioned earlier. And I've also noticed that it's been revised as of today, it looks like, where it shows, I don't have the revised document, but I have the original document showing that the parents, myself listed, that we discussed the plan in length, which we did not, and decided to adopt the original plan, which we did not agree to that. And so with saying that, as everyone knows, the issues currently with special education and everything that falls underneath it, I feel like this just unfortunately goes to show what we are continuously faced with as far as the lack of communication, the poor communication that parents and the public are given when these things are changed. It wasn't listed. It wasn't listed on the website on the homepage like 2020 Vision is or anything else on the left side of the page when you go on. It was buried under special ed. You literally had to go in and search for it. We weren't given. Our understanding was that document was going to be made available in June, and it would be there for 30 days, and then a vote would be made. So it's kind of upsetting that had we not found that document last night, it probably would still be on the board agenda had we not had other parents email the board and do as they did before. And it mentions that teachers were there, they were not. So a lot of staff members didn't even know about the advisory council that we were part of on the 25th of April. Advisory, just as it sounds. Our input, our advice, what have you, and that's not what is happening on that committee. So I'd like to see that committee truly as it stands, as an advisory committee. More people need to be aware of it. Only 2 people were invited. The other parents that showed up, we showed up because we were told by other parents, which I understand that it was not a secret meeting or what have you, but how's anyone going to know if you don't put it out there? And going forward with that, we have another district-wide Davenport PTO meeting on the 2nd of June because we are earning for that connection between the administration and with the students, parents, teachers with disabilities. We have to work together, and that is not happening. And this cluster with the education plan goes to show that we're not, and we need to. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Sorry, and again, June 2nd, 9:30, Eastern Avenue Library. Please come. Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. Next is Tara Witherow and Savannah D.
Here's our meeting. Hello. My name is Tara Witherow. I'm a parent of students in the Davenport District at several schools.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm with her.
Okay, thank you. And Tara, what's your address?
1715 West Garfield Street, Davenport.
Thank you.
As a parent who, well, first I just want to start off with, it's been over a month now that we've had the results from the state audit, talking about the racial disparity and the problems with special education delivery, and we have yet to have any kind of firm, clear plans to fix any of those problems. So I'm just reminding you, this is your 1-month anniversary, and we need some plans. But secondly, I just wanted to bring up again that I was very disturbed last night, like at 11 o'clock, when I found out that my name was on a document saying that I approved it for the district when I had not. I did not appreciate that. I'll gladly go over any documents or plans that the district has to go over and see what problems and recommendations I have, but please don't add my name to anything until I actually have done so. And so I just wanted to make that clear that we were told at the meeting, we were not told that we were discussing the plan to approve it. And we asked, when does it need to be reapproved? Someone looked at the date and said that it would be sometime this year and that we would post it in June. And I remember we discussed, well, will parents even see it in June because they're on vacation and stuff like that. And then we talked about, well, make sure it's on the very front page instead of hidden so parents can see it in June. And we'll direct parents, hey, in June, don't forget to look. Guess what? It's not even June yet. And it was already snuck into the agenda quickly and said that we had approved it and had been on their website and we didn't even know about it. So this is, again, just another example of that communication problem where we have active parents who are trying to be involved and concerned, and we can't because of the way the communication goes. So just another example of something we need to fix. Please come to the meeting, and on Saturday we're just going to talk about solutions. So it should be a great meeting if anybody's available. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you, Savannah. Next is Megan Long.
My name is Megan Long, 1943 West 56 Court. First of all, I want to thank each one of you board members for coming and volunteering your time. This is a very difficult task that each one of you do, and I appreciate all your time. It takes a lot of time. I want to address the special education proposal, which I know was taken off tonight. I am a parent of a child with special needs in the district. I attended the Special Education Council meeting in April 25th. At this time, the district's current guidelines for special education were presented at the meeting. At this meeting, in attendance to my knowledge, there were no general education teachers present, and there were no special education teachers present. There was a curriculum specialist for reading that was present, which is more of an administrative level, and there were administrators from the special education department present, but no true teachers. Also, at this time, this was a presentation, not a proposal. We were informed that the final draft would be put online in June. We as a council discussed that when it was ready, it would be easily found on the front page of the website. Last night it was found on the website, buried under multiple layers, and was not placed on the front page like we had agreed to as a council. The teachers union was contacted and was not aware of this council either. So none of the teachers knew that they were to be a part of this and that their names were underneath this. This is an example of how situations are handled, plus the item gets removed from the board agenda meeting last minute. People were scrambling all day, myself and some in the crowd, to inform others of decisions that were trying to be made, but were made discreetly. Please notify us a little bit more in a more timely fashion manner. We need to make this change. Let's work as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Next is Carrie Dugan.
Hi, I'm Carrie Dugan. My address is 630 East Colorado Street in Davenport. I also want to reiterate thank you for putting off that vote, tabling that vote until we get a little bit more information going there. I just want to make the hopefully very clear point that if you have a special education plan, and that is your plan for the last 5 years, and you find yourself in violation of federal law in multiple areas, do you keep that plan? Or do you ask the community what on earth is going on and get a new plan? Seems logical to me. The Special Education Council, as the other parents have said, is an ideal example of the way that parents are treated by this administration. This isn't what we discussed at the council meeting. We didn't agree to this, yet there our names are on this paper. So I would encourage you, as we've encouraged you multiple times, find out what is going with this administration. There's a level of dishonesty. You're not getting the information you need. So please, keep at it. I know you guys are trying hard. Keep it getting what's going on with the administration. Lastly, I felt a little inspired by these kids earlier to share a joy as well. You guys may not know, because she'll never walk across the graduation stage, but this is Ella Griesenbeck, one of the most talented, intelligent kids you have here. She's a 3-year member of the Marching Blue Devils, the oldest marching band west of the Mississippi. She gets excellent grades whenever she has the support that she's entitled to. She's a community leader. She helped us start this PTO. She's a wonderful sibling and a responsible person. She has a dedication to advocacy, and she will never graduate from this school because of how these administrators have chosen to implement special education. She knows now, after we've watched you guys for the past 6 months, the next 2 years here is a waste of her time. So she's moved on already to Scott. Her future is bright. She will be successful. But I want you to ask yourself, she will always be an advocate, but what will she say about this district for the rest of her life? Where will she choose to live? Where will she choose to send her kids to school? These are the realities. Ms. DeSalvo said, quite rightly, that these kids who just left are what we're all about. I agree. But it's not all the kids. This is what we need to be about. Kids who need a little extra help. Kids who have the right to it. Not kids who have a head start already. That makes perfect sense. So, I would just like to say, kind of stealing President Johansson's words here, it is a thrill to know you. I am proud of you. I am lucky to be a small part of everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. We had a late request, and I'm going to allow it. This is from Bonnie Strong. And Bonnie, I'll give you the same 3 minutes. But give us your name and address when you come up.
My name is Bonnie Strong. I live at 420 North Mississippi Street in Bluegrass. I have lived in Bluegrass my entire life. Hearing that Bluegrass Elementary School could possibly be closing made me feel the need to share my concerns. Bluegrass School was built in 1957, opening with grades kindergarten through 8. The city's population at that time was approximately 550 people. We became part of the Davenport School District. The residents of Bluegrass were thrilled that their children were going to be able to take part in much more enriched curriculum and extracurricular activities and still be close to home. The school has always been the center of our town, with PTA, local businesses, as well as parents and residents giving their unending support. The 2016 population count in Bluegrass is 1,879 residents. This does not include the subdivisions around Bluegrass. The school is currently rated 196 out of 574 elementary schools in the state of Iowa. I'm a former student of Bluegrass School, a teacher from the Davenport School District, retiring after 38 years of service, and most of my career was spent at Bluegrass. My children received their education at Bluegrass, Walcott Junior High, and Davenport West, and my grandchildren are currently attending Bluegrass Elementary. As a resident, I feel that closing this school would be very detrimental to our community, more or less removing the heart from our city. I am in hopes that the public will be informed when school closings will be on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. And the last open forum request, I think, is from Larry Guy.
Good evening. My name is Larry Guy, 201 West Muse, Bluegrass, Iowa. Lifelong resident of Bluegrass, 12 years on the city council, 36 years on the volunteer fire department, 14 years of that as chief, and currently I'm the mayor of Bluegrass. I'm here to express how devastating the closing of Bluegrass Elementary would be to the city, the citizens, and most of all, to the children attending the school. Many people moved to Bluegrass because of our outstanding school. As Mrs. Strong said, it is the center of our community, and closing it would tear the heart out of our town. I was in the fourth grade when we opened up that new school in Bluegrass. We got the day off when we moved from an old 3-room schoolhouse to this new school. We carried the books, the desk, everything across the field to that new school, and we were all proud as punch about that new school. When we walked in the door with our arms full of books, desk or whatever, we asked if they wanted us to take our shoes off to go in and put the stuff inside the school. So yeah, I have a little sentimental value going with this school. I'm here to say it would be a tragic move to close our school, one of the top rated in the state of Iowa, especially if this decision is based on a pipe dream that has existed for years in Bluegrass, and in Walcott, and in Buffalo. The talk of a Westcott School District has spurred a lot of interest, but this isn't the first time this has been posed. When I was 6 years old, I can remember them talking about, wouldn't it be great to have a high school? Sure it would be. I want to read something, a statement that was made by a very dear friend of mine in Buffalo. He happens to be the fire chief down there. His name is Terry Adams. And he said, in principle, it's a great idea. We almost got it done back in 1964 and 65. The difference today is that we do not own our local schools like we did in the 60s. Davenport Community Schools own them. My guess is they're not going to give them to us after we pull out of their district. So we'd have to buy or build 5 buildings, 3 elementary, 1 middle, and 1 high school at a cost of $100 million each. That puts us $500 million in capital debt before we can even open the doors. If someone can show me how we can afford that on the school tax we pay now, I will sign the petition and support the Westcott school system, but I don't see any way we can afford this venture. This is something that's going to take a lot of research before we pull the trigger. And I think you'll find that that's the sentiment of a lot of residents in Bluegrass and the surrounding area. Bluegrass is getting the bad rap in this thing because it just so happens that a few principals in this group are from the Bluegrass area, but they're not the only ones. There's some people from Buffalo that are involved in this group that want to develop this Westcott School District. I feel the group has not done their homework on this project, and if they have, they sure haven't shared it with the general public. They're saying that 80% of the residents are in favor of the new school district. Let me ask you, if you lived in a small town and somebody approached you and say, hey, would you like to have a new high school? What are you going to answer? Sure, I'd love to have a high school where my kids could walk to the school, wouldn't have to be bused or whatever. That's where the 80% is coming from. That's my feeling. Now, if they pose that question in a different way, would you be willing to have a new school district minus the major programs that go along with what Davenport School District has, meaning sports, special ed, a lot of the other programs, and would you be willing to fund that? I think you find a little different outcome of the poll that they're taking. But that's what this group is professing, that 80% are in favor of this. I beg to differ. The proponents of this school district have made statements about not raising taxes. But as yet, they haven't produced anything to the general public to back their claims. I don't know how they're assuming that's going to happen. Rather than reinventing the wheel, why don't we reach out to you, the school board, school district, and see what we and the board can do to improve the existing situation? I don't know if that's ever been done in the past. It's a wonder, all the things I've been involved in Bluegrass, whether it be on the council, the fire department, and now as the mayor. Somebody always has a complaint, as you board members, I know. But where's the solution? Who has the solution? Can't we get together, work this out, see what the issues are, and try to resolve them? Rather than go half-cocked off on a binge on something that I don't know how anybody could possibly afford.
Mayor,
Yeah.
you're going to have to wrap it up.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just about to, I'm sorry. Once again, I sincerely ask you to reconsider closing the Bluegrass Elementary School. Thanks for allowing me to address the board, and I hope the rest of your evening is a good one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And again, thank you sincerely to everybody that comes and gives their perspective and thoughts. It takes quite a bit sometimes to come up here and speak to bunch of people seated at a in an arrangement like this, but I wanted to thank especially Katerina, Tara, and Savannah didn't say much, but I appreciate her coming up there. Megan and Carrie and Bonnie and Mayor Guy. Thank you all for coming up and giving us your input. It really is valuable and important. So with that, we'll move on. We have a staff report. Mr. Schneiden?
No report. Oh, social sentinel. Right. Gary's coming up. Oh, sorry.
So there is a report. This is the Social Sentinel program. It's on 7.01, and so there will be a presentation, but there will be no question and answer section of this. So, thank you, Gary.
Thank you. I'm here tonight to share with the board some proactive things we are doing to try and stem emergency situations in the district and reach out to our public. As you're aware, we've got a campaign that says, if you see something, say something. And what we're trying to do is leverage that concept with technology. We know that all of our students are very involved in social media. They've got a lot of things they're posting out there. And the thought is, what could we do to learn more about what's going on in the social media space that we could use to further protect our students, find out what's going on, be proactive instead of reactive. All right. To that end, I will tell you that we've looked at several social media monitoring systems, and the one we've chosen is called Social Sentinel. This product only monitors publicly shared information. So students who are using Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, products like that, they've already said this is public information. If it was private information, they'd be turning it off on their system. So we're not going anywhere that we're not supposed to be going. We're not getting information that is not public information. We're currently Social Sentinel currently monitors several media products, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It does not monitor some of the other programs that are based on privacy, like Snapchat, which is very popular with the students. So not everything is getting monitored by this product. Let's see. Sioux City has been using this product and attributes it to helping save 5 incidents of suicide or self-harm in their district in the first year of use. And that's a pretty impressive feature, that they've gotten that much information back from social media in a way that was actionable, that they could actually step in and help solve the problems that were going on. They have not had any incidents of violence that have been produced this way, but that was their initial reason for getting involved in this product as well. The product covers such areas as bullying, self-harm, violence, excuse me, gangs and drugs, and it uses a database of over 500,000 threat indicators. These are words that are used in conjunction with each other, put together. They use a lot of computer algorithms to discern what the content is and whether it amounts to a threat assessment of some sort or another, given those categories of bullying, self-harm, violence, drugs, and gangs. They monitor over 1 billion media posts per day, and that's just something that we could not do in any way, shape, or form. So this is an incredible tool for leveraging what is being shared publicly out there, trying to define it and dissect it and get it down to a manageable amount of content. And when they hit on something, one of our indicators, it will send an alert to a select group of people in the Davenport schools for further assessment to see, is this a misuse of, we're going to beat those guys tonight, we're going to shoot better than ever before, referring to a basketball game, versus something else that might be more insidious. All right. So we also get to customize our instance of the local content with the local I'll say flora and fauna. Basically, we put the Tax Slayer in there, we put Brady Street Stadium in there. These are indicator words that we look for. And so when those words come up in conjunction with threat assessed words that they've already defined as indicators, we'll get an alert. And we can use that alert to further dive into the social media that it represents, We click on a link that comes with the alert, and that takes us in further. We can determine whether this is actually one of our students or another student, or we can find out more about this student. So that's when the human element comes into this after the computers have made their assessment and given us this alert. Then we follow up on that, see is this what they're talking about, or is this not what they're talking about? Does this constitute something that we should act on or not? And so in that manner, we are getting, we're hoping to get advance information of somebody who's needing help and in distress in some way or another, and we reach out to them in that way. It also uses something that's called a geofence. And so if you're using any of those social medias, it asks you, is it okay if I track your location on your phone so I can make better offers to you of coupons in your area or other events that are going on? When you say yes to that, you are allowing what's known as geo-tracking to happen. And what they are able to do with that geo-tracking is further limit the amount of content that we would be getting by narrowing it to just that stuff that concerns the Quad Cities area or the Davenport Quad Cities area. So it helps us go through a huge amount of information, find the stuff that's hitting and get as close to us and give us some insight as to what's going on with that. Let's see. This is also publicly shared information and the geofencing. So that in a nutshell is what we're doing. We've had the product up for almost a month now. We are in the process of developing our customized database of local content, like our proms and our galas and bachelor captures and all the various things we call our events, local stuff. And we're getting that database built, which will help us further reform or be informed. I will tell you also that over that month we've been receiving alerts, and the alerts are in the form of, these are the words we found, these are the locations that we think are involved with that, does this resonate with you, and you can move on that to find out if there's something that is actionable in our area. So I think it's interesting to note that this is a proactive attempt to stem some of the horrible things that have been happening locally, or not locally so much, but hopefully never locally. That in a nutshell is Social Sentinel.
All right, thank you very much for that. If the board wants more information on this, you could ask for it to be a presentation or a discussion item. But we'll continue then. Thank you very much,
Thank
Gary. May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as written.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Director Gosa, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you could hear. Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Director DeSalvo?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gosa?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Mayfield?
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding approval of bills?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the following resolution as recommended by administration for adoption of the bills from the bill listing periods of May 10th, 2018 through May 23rd, 2018. Resolved, all claims presented to the board having been duly certified as correct by the secretary, reviewed by the administration and board members, and they are hereby audited and allowed as just claims and warrants drawn on the treasury for the several amounts. Further resolved, the payment of claims and salaries be approved as presented for the periods of May 10th, 2018 through May 23rd, 2018.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, call for the vote. Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa. Director Gosa. Thank you. And my vote is yes, motion carries. Thank you. Is there a superintendent report tonight?
No report.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to other items requiring action. I have a motion on the approval of plans and specifications for Adams, Williams, Wood, and North LED lighting control project.
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move that the board approve the plans and specifications for Adams, Williams, Wood, and North LED lighting and control project.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We will now hold a public hearing on the approval of plans and specifications for the Adams, Williams, Wood, and North LED lightings and control project as published in the Quad City Times on Friday, May 18th, 2018. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing and hearing none, I now declare the public hearing closed. Is there any additional discussion on this matter? All right, then we will call for the vote. Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see here. Hang on a minute. May I have a motion for the board to declare parcel G0038-23 as unneeded surplus land and accept the offer of $1,500 from Jeffrey Weindrich for purchase of this property.
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move that the board declare parcel G0038-23 as unneeded surplus land and accept the offer of $1,500 from Jeffrey Weindrich for the purchase of this property.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We will now hold a public hearing on this proposal published in the Quad City Times on Saturday, May 19th, 2018. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward to the microphone. State your name and address for the record. What's the date?
The 29th.
Seeing and hearing none, I now declare the public hearing closed. Is there any additional discussion on this matter? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
No.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the bid for Adams and Jackson restroom remodel?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board award the bid for the Adams and Jackson restroom remodel project to the lowest responsive bidder, Tricon Construction, in the amount of $247,900.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Director DeSalvo.
I just have a question. I'm looking at the budget, and we do have $300,000 budgeted for this project, and I see the lowest responsible bid is $247,000. What's your contingency on that? Or are we planning any? Hopefully not.
I don't recall what exactly the architect's fees were, typically about 8%. So whatever difference remaining would be project contingency. This is phase 9 of 10 for these restroom remodels, and we have had very little changes in this series of projects.
Very good. Thank you.
Director Beck.
It looks like the cost of tiling and ductwork came back a lot higher than last year. Can you explain why it would have jumped so much in a year?
I'll ask Joe to address that.
The general contractors told me that it's hard to get tiling contractors in this late in the year, so they put out bigger price than they normally would have got it out sooner.
Director Beck.
I guess along those lines, it says work is to be mostly complete by October 19th, but we know that school will be in session at that point. So what effects is this going to have on the students who are attending the school right now, or then?
This has been the case most years, and the principal is coordinated with, and it's one set of student toilet rooms in a floor that has another set and so forth. So they, Joe has worked it out with principals year after year for them to have a plan to be without one set of toilet rooms for the first few weeks of school.
Any other discussion? Director Gosa, you got anything?
I didn't really hear. Why is the cost of tiling and
Hey, we can't hear you. Speak right into the microphone or something.
I didn't hear his explanation of why the cost of the tiling and ductwork was more money.
Can you repeat that?
The economy being what it is, unemployment being as low as it is in Iowa, the contractors are booked up. They're telling us that they put larger prices out because they have more work on the plate, and it's hard to find labor. The later in the year that a project is bid, the greater the likelihood that that will be the case.
Okay.
Did you need anything else, Director Gosa? Director Gosa?
No,
Assume-
I'm not.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, we'll call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director DeSalvo?
Yes.
Director Mayfield?
Yes.
Director Gosa?
No.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Director Gosa said no. Okay. All right, thank you. May I have a motion regarding name change for the Central George Marshall Gym floor?
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the administration's recommendation for naming the Davenport Central George Marshall Gym floor after Dr. Paul Moon, legendary state basketball coach who served the Davenport School District for 30 years.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Did I not say Mr. Paul Moon?
So any discussion?
Dr. Moon's my dentist.
Any discussion on that?
I do have a question.
Director DeSalvo.
I'm sorry, I should correct. Dr. Moon is my dentist, not Mr. Paul Moon. I'm in rare form tonight. Forgive me. So, do we have other people come forward with requests similar to this for different? I've never been involved in something like this, and I'm just not sure if we have other opportunities, or how does this work?
Mr. Scott, do you want to take a shot at it, or I could try?
We've had a few. Is mine? Oh, I can't tell if it's on, so I'm just going to talk louder. We've had a few of these in the past few years during my time here, and they come through the building, but they've also come from outside efforts also. They're presented to the staff. The entire staff has to have, I believe, is it 80%, Mary? 80% approval. I want to say 80% have to sign off on it. And then from that point, then it comes to the agenda committee And so we've had a few things. I think the last one that I remember, we've had a couple. We've had at West High School, Wessels was named after the court. Larry Jacobson tennis courts for Central. I think those are the most recent two, and I'm trying to think of, Brian, does that sound right? Yep. So those are the last two that have come prior to this one. Yep. Yeah, a good point would be that it's building driven, you know, so somebody comes to and presents to the building, and because of what the board policy says, it's someone who has worked for the district in the past. Years ago, I got a request for a sports writer to something, and we ended up, that one didn't move forward or whatever, but again, we just following what the board policy has been for years prior to me being here. I don't know if that was enough.
Well, I'm going to add on a little bit after the discussion. Director Hayes.
So it has to be a previous employee.
I would have to look at the exact word.
Board policy, and I can look it up here and give you the number of the board policy. I don't think it has to be employee, but it has to be someone who has actually, not actually worked in the district, but influenced the district in some way for many years, worked with students.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in a professional capacity, I don't think, but I can get the board policy number there. It's on the. Okay.
30702.
Yeah, are you done, Director Hayes? Director Beck.
So I guess, what about the person for whom it was named before? Is there some consideration, like nobody knows who that is anymore, or?
The court wasn't, the court itself isn't named after anybody.
Oh, okay. It was
have
just
the gymnasium,
gym was
right.
named, but not the court. Okay, thank you.
Yep, good question.
Anything else? Director Mayfield.
Can community members that attended school there be nominated to have something named after them there? Does it directly say only people that have been employed by the district?
No. Yeah, I have the policy.
You have the policy up?
I pulled it up.
How long is it?
It's like a paragraph.
Why don't you read the whole thing?
Okay. Naming facilities. The naming of district facilities is a deliberate and intentional process. It is the practice of the district to name elementary schools after presidents of the United States, intermediate schools after former superintendents, and high schools based upon geographical direction. On rare occasions, the board may choose to bestow the honor of naming a facility or some part thereof in recognition of a person who has made a significant contribution to student learning and the mission of the district. Should a person or persons wish to nominate an individual for consideration of this honor, a formal request should be filed with the superintendent's office. This request must include specific, quantifiable information as to how the individual has enhanced student learning and the mission of the district. The request will be evaluated by the superintendent or the superintendent's designee. If deemed appropriate and the criteria is met, the request will be brought before the board for consideration. And there's a little bit more, but that's.
Well, go ahead, read the rest of it.
It just says, the next part is name signs on school buildings, and it doesn't say anything about needing signatures or anything like that in the direct policy.
All right.
Is that an administrative regulation? Yeah.
But what you just read was board policy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So if
Director
I may
Mayfield, sure.
continue. So it doesn't say that it cannot be someone that was not employed. It more talked about having an influence on students in the community. Is that correct? Okay, student learning, but it does not say someone outside not being employed cannot be honored.
No.
Okay, I was just trying to make that distinction. That's why I asked.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? The only thing that I wanted to mention after Mr. Scott's presentation is that the vetting process, I think, really goes through the administration, through you and the superintendent, I believe in this case, and you have vetted that everything is appropriate to the board, right? And that this is what the administration wants this to happen.
Yes. Yeah, we
Okay.
agree with the recommendation of the building for this. We follow, it's interesting you said it doesn't say the 80%. It must say it on the procedural form. There we go. Okay. Because they've followed every criteria at the building level, working their way up with the recommendation letters and additional things needed coming to us. So yes.
Right, okay. Sure, go ahead, just to validate that.
So in the administrative regulation 307.02A, when considering the naming of a facility or some part thereof in recognition of a person who has made a significant contribution to student learning and the mission of the district, the honoree must have demonstrated a long-term commitment of at least 15 years to the district involving one or more schools, have enhanced student learning, not be a current district employee. If once an employee, the honoree must be separated from the district for a minimum of 5 years unless deceased. In addition, must have left the district in good standing. And then it goes into the process which involves the form, which is the other administrative regulation.
Thank you for all of that, and thank you for those questions. It is a very rare occurrence. I think in my time here, I remember one other, and that was about it. So, and the administration takes care of all that. So, I'll make sure where we are here. Are there any other questions? Any other comments? Director Mayfield.
Well, it just occurred to me that we did name something at the schools after someone that was not an employee of the school district. Jim Hester. Never was an employee of the school system.
Right.
So it's just a thought. It just passed through my mind.
Oh, okay.
When I listened to what they were saying there. And I was asking the question, could someone outside of being employed by the school district? Because that's what that talked about in that policy.
No, it didn't.
Oh.
You want to read it again, Director Beck?
Sure. The administrative regulation describing the criteria when considering the naming of a facility or some part thereof in recognition of a person who has made a significant contribution to student learning and the mission of the district, the honoree must have demonstrated a long-term commitment of at least 15 years to the district involving one or more schools, have enhanced student learning, not be a current employee. If they have been an employee, the honoree must be separated from the district for a minimum of 5 years unless deceased. In addition, they must have left the district in good standing. So it's typically not employees that are current.
Right, not current, but I took it to be they have worked for the district. That's the way I took it.
Okay, but
initially, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay, great. Thank you. And something that happened before, in fact, I have no idea when this was named the Mr. Hester boardroom, but that's really not too pertinent to this. So if that's a concern
Well,
that you think it was done improperly, we can take that up later.
No, I wasn't looking for improper. What I was
Okay.
looking for is an example that it was done outside of what those policies were. That's what I thought I heard.
Okay.
And-
But you're okay that the policy is
Oh, yeah.
okay?
I
and-
don't have a problem with that. I
Okay.
was just thinking where we were sitting, and he was not employed for 5 years or 15 years
Uh-huh.
by the school district, but yet the building was named, or this room was named after him. So someone that was not employed or, I shouldn't say not significant, but 15 years, I guess, is the key, that he was on the board a length of time and that qualified to be able to name something after him. So That's why I was asking, because he was not actually ever employed by the school district, even though he may have significantly changed things here, but he was not employed by the school district at any time. He wasn't a superintendent, he wasn't a teacher.
Right.
He wasn't any of those capacities. So that's why I was asking.
But for tonight's meeting, I mean, you're acknowledging that the policy is what it is and that the recommendation in this case is to name the George Marshall Gym floor after Mr. Paul Moon.
And that's a go, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. And thank you for clarifying that, Director Beck. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Director Gosa, you have anything?
No.
Okay, we'll call for the vote. Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. May I have a motion regarding approval of amendment to school-based supervision program contract?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move that the board approve the amendment to the school-based supervision program contract in the amount of $161,752.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
I would like to know the details of the service that we're being provided as far as how many students in a year, maybe a couple years,
Okay, Mr.
so we can actually see what we're getting for our money, how many are being serviced each year. Maybe in a 3-year period rather than just 2 years. It gives you a little better, because I know it fluctuates from time to time. If you could look also at racial background of those students, I would appreciate that information as well.
So are you asking for that before the vote is made? Or would that be?
I guess I was, but I don't see that in this, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to vote yes for it. But is this not the right time to ask for it while you're on this?
Well,
You asked if there was any questions.
If it's something readily available, I just didn't know if you needed all of that before the vote.
No,
If-
I don't need it before the vote, but
Okay,
we're
then,
going to vote.
so then I would recommend that you put it onto a board request, so that we do capture that information, the request, and then the administration will have the opportunity to go ahead and get that information.
Well, okay, but I thought that would be part of this report, this basically just
Well-
financial and not any of the details of.
So we'll ask the administration. Mr. Schneeden, do you have that kind of information available?
I don't believe we have it with us tonight. You don't have it, do you, Rob? Could get it.
But since we have the financial, it would be nice to have the details with it, so we know what we're getting. Otherwise, we're basically voting for it and not having any idea of need.
Okay. Did you have
So
more
you
on
say
that?
we can get that too?
Director DeSalvo.
Okay, so this says it's the 5th amendment. This is just a renewal of an existing contract year over year? So we've approved this before, and this is just another extension of the existing contract at the same price that we have paid previously.
Do you have anything else on it, Rob? I don't either. I think it's just the renewal of the JCL. The information you're asking for, I agree. I think it's a board request, and we can get that information.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. It's not a, let's hold up the show for it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other discussion?
Would I be able to get just, will it be a board report? Because I want to make sure that I get exactly the information. We're not expanding it. We're not adding any personnel. It's,
No, could you, in fact, well, you'll put it on a written request for the end of the meeting anyway. And so.
Well, I could put something down, but I don't think it would be accurate enough for what I want to write it right now.
Well, but we have to, it's got to be something that we present publicly, and typically, we need it on those board requests. So if you want to, if you want to do it later, you can do it in
No,
between.
I'd rather get the information sooner than
Okay,
later.
all right. Yeah, just do the best you can. Shouldn't I? Okay, thank you for that discussion.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on this issue? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. As I noted at the beginning of the meeting, I took item 11.06, approval of district-developed special education plan, off of the agenda, and it'll be considered at a later time. We'll move on to 11.07. May I have a motion regarding approval of the MyOn Reader contract?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move that the board approve the MyOn Reader contract for $173,786.14 through the 2020-2021 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
What did you say?
Second.
Okay.
I was joking.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Oh, Director Beck.
Maybe Mr. Schneckloth can answer this question. So I know at my son's elementary school, they discontinued using MyOn Reader and have gone with some other products. And so I guess I'm curious, the explanation here says that it is well documented, that it improves fluency and whatnot. But I guess I'm curious as to know why just the Title I schools, if it's such a great product, and why would another school choose not to use it, if you have any idea?
It's a good point. Good question. So the reason why we use it in our Title I buildings is we have our programming and the funding. It's an expensive program. The funding we could not find in our general fund. And so our base programming, Title I funds are used to go above and beyond. So this will be something that will be used to enhance at our Title I building. Our 13 Title I buildings will be available there. And the pricing that we got on this was a really exceptional price. So that's why we've decided to go that way.
May I ask a follow-up? So are there no other programs then that you guys think would do the same job? It's really more of an expense thing, and you're going to use it where it's most needed?
So our curriculum department has found some other software that works in a similar capacity. This is just an enhanced version. So we use things like, I know they have some free stuff from the AEA. They also use, I'm trying to think of the, no, sometimes they use Accelerated Reader, but they have a couple of other programs that they use. But this is just above and beyond. We also use this on our GAP project, Greater Achievement Plan projects. The students who are struggling take a tablet home, books are downloaded for them. They go home, they read the books, they come back, and it's uploaded to the internet. So
thank you.
Yep.
Director DeSalvo.
That answered my questions. My question was, is it 100% Title I funded, and then the discount, when you commented on both? So
we use a different fund. It's an at-risk fund to pay for the portion that's at all of our buildings, because we have Greater Achievement Plan students, GAP students in all of our buildings. So we use a little bit of our at-risk funds to pay for another portion of it that allows us to put it in. That's our district standard. So we use that fund to put it in all of our buildings, so our students that are in that program get to take a tablet home, and we utilize MyOn there. Though from there, we exceed that by putting it only in our Title I buildings.
Anything else? All right, great. We'll go ahead and call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director DeSalvo.
yes.
Director Gosa.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
And my vote is yes. Motion carries. Thank you. I'm going to suggest that we continue to plow through. We've only got 2 additional items, and there are no discussion items unless somebody objects. Okay, we'll go ahead and may I have a motion regarding 1108 approval of compensation package for administrative employees.
Mr. President,
Director DeSalvo.
I move that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation to approve the compensation package totaling 2% for administrative employees for the 2018-19 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Director, okay, thank you. So any discussion? Director Beck.
I guess given the financial straits we've been discussing, I'm concerned that this is, not that I don't think you guys are doing a great job and deserve compensation, but I know, I'd like to know how much this is in terms of budget, like what the amount is that we're increasing pay, and whether the optics are really that great that we're increasing administrative pay at a time when we're talking about closing schools potentially.
I don't know if we have that information available right now without Marcia here, do we? Mr. Scott?
I do not. I'm looking through what she's provided me here that we shared with the board at our meeting a couple weeks ago, or last week, whenever that was. And so I was just looking to see if the total is on there. I would hate to put a guess on it and they'd be way off, so I don't know. I just have the facts as with the IPERS percentage being part of the package and the furlough day being part of the package, that really it was a 1.25 actual increase to salaries is all that it was. But I mean, those two take off a significant chunk of the 2%.
Okay. Thank you. I had missed that meeting, so I wasn't aware of what was going into the 2%. I guess I know that in my position, my husband's position in academic institutions, we've had 0% pay raises for quite a few years. And when you give pay raises to administration, sometimes it doesn't look as good as you would like it to, even though you think they may deserve it. But knowing that a lot of it is IPERS and furlough days are included, that makes a lot of sense. So thank you.
Sure. Any additional discussion? Director Mayfield.
I'm just curious, so if it's IPERS, it's sort of a charge which raises is higher each year. That's the reason for that percent, or part of that 2% percentage, is because each year IPERS costs more.
Yeah, but it's not it doesn't have to be every year, although the IPERS board does have the authority to raise it up to 1% per year. Mr. Scott, do you have anything you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, the packages would include everything from our health, the IPERS continuous. This was a change this year where they added additional weighting to the employee or the employers was a 0.51. So that was, they could have gone to 1%. They did a 0.51. So that would be an additional cost that we normally wouldn't see in a year to the administrative package. So doing that, we took that off the top before we even started with whatever number that we had to divvy out raises amongst the 63 administrators.
So IPERS is sort of 0.5%, and the other 1.5% is the actual raise.
Our contribution was another 0.5% stronger than it has been in the past years, if I'm saying that right. It was an additional 0.51% required.
Right. So the state law is what changes that through the IPERS board. And so it's just something we have to come up with. We can't not pay into the IPERS. And we pay those increases, and the total increases, or not the total increases, but the total employer portion is somewhat higher than the total employee portion. So it's,
Yeah.
okay.
I was just trying to see how much of that 2% was IPERS.
So
It
the
sounded
half,
like a 0.5%.
yeah, 0.5% was
So the
IPERS.
other-
Well, and then as Mr. Scott said, 1.25 was approximate raise, and then the other was for insurance and some other things.
Was a furlough day at one
Oh,
point. One of the
furlough.
reduction was a furlough day, which would have been around $33,000, I remember, in that range. So we took that $33,000 off of the potential raises for our administrators.
Yep. That kind of makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, we'll call for the vote. Director DeSalvo.
No.
Director Beck.
I wish we had the number in front of us. That would really help. Yes.
Director Gosa.
No.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
No.
My vote is yes. It's a tie vote, and in a tie, the vote fails. So, and I apologize, I was going to make a comment before I actually voted yes, but this puts the whole district in a real bind. So, I don't know what to do with it other than accept that the vote was made the way it was, and we'll deal with it. Okay, may I have a motion regarding approval of compensation package for,
May I ask a question?
regarding
Well,
what?
you said it puts the district in a real bind, so
Yes.
left it at that. So I don't know what that means.
What that means is that at this point, the board said that it did not approve the compensation package totaling 2%, which includes IPERS, which that to me is a real bind because we did not even approve IPERS. And I don't have any idea how we're going to resolve that. We'll have to deal with the administration tomorrow because we can't disregard that law, and we can't not pay IPERS. That's an absolute. And that's why I say I don't know, because there are other parts of this 2%. There are the furlough, yeah, maybe we can do something else with that. IPERS, and then the increase of 1.25%. All I'm saying is I will have to get with the superintendent and with the executive directors and with Marcia tomorrow and try to figure out how do we resolve it.
Novice at this, so bear with me. It can be, a lesser amount can be offered. When I say lesser amount, I understand.
I'm not sure how it would because we've already voted on it.
Well, this vote failed.
Right.
You can vote more than once, possibly.
But
Different
but-
time, different offer, yes.
Sure.
Okay, so-
There'll be something somehow. We have to resolve it.
Well,
We
I
can't.
understand that.
But for now, we said no.
Right.
Okay. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay.
I didn't understand. It sounded like it was stuck there forever, the comment that you made. So it's basically, it goes back to the table and you decide what to do differently. I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really concerned about a lot of this. So there will be additional discussion, and we may even have to have a special meeting on it. I don't know yet. Okay, and but we'll deal with that tomorrow. Tonight is tonight. May I have a motion regarding on 1109 the approval of the compensation package for non-bargaining, non-administrative employees.
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I recommend that the board approve the compensation package totaling 1.99% for non-bargaining, non-administrative employees for the 2018-19 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Did you say yes?
I said second.
Her second. Thank you. All right. Is there any discussion? Director Beck.
What type of person or what type of position would be a non-bargaining, non-administrative employee?
Mr. Scott, you want to answer that?
Quite honestly, I would not want to answer that because I do not know everyone that falls in that category. I wouldn't be able to speak to. But there could be any number of employees there. I would not want to even venture an answer on that if we need to. But I don't know if the specialists fall under that category. I don't know if I just don't know.
Administrative assistants.
Sure, go ahead.
We could get a list of those. No. Yeah. So we could get a list for you of all those names.
I just needed to know what type of employee it was, but you gave me
Don't
some
sit-
examples, I think.
I apologize. I don't sit on that labor management group.
And the 1.99%, is this also including IPERS and furlough days?
I don't think furlough days are in that, but the IPERS would be included in my knowledge.
Yeah, the IPERS has, that's a legal requirement by the state, and it applies to all employees. Did you have more, Director Beck? Director DeSalvo.
I'm struggling with being able to vote on this in the prior 11.08 without having, I know we had a meeting and we talked about it, but I think Director Beck had a good question over 11.08 and another one over 11.09. If we could get more information, I think we could get a vote through. But at this point, I'm not real comfortable voting on it because we're not even sure who it covers. We're pretty sure, we're sure it covers IPERS, but not a furlough day. If we could get a little more detail about who we're talking about, that would be helpful. So at this point, I'm not sure I could. I would prefer to pull it out. And what's the word I need to say?
Well, there are a couple of different ways you could try to do that. One would be, I think you could table it indefinitely, which, yes.
But I don't want to do that.
Well, it's hard to know what you want to do unless you express what you want to do. Because as I indicated earlier during that little discussion, we may have to have a special meeting tomorrow to figure this thing out. We cannot simply let this go.
Sure.
And I don't want to get into a debate, but all of the information was presented at that other meeting. And so it's hard. And like I say, I don't want to debate. I want to leave it open to your all discussion. So asking for more information now that we all had the opportunity to look at and debate is difficult.
With all due respect, we've got a lot going on right now, and trying to keep all of these things straight is very difficult. So I guess that's where I'm struggling, just to make sure that I know what I'm I'm approving here is a comfort zone I need to be in before I can approve something. So I don't think I want to table it indefinitely. I would like perhaps at the next board meeting that it could come up again if we could have a little more information, or Marcia or Dr. Tate or whomever here that could answer those questions while we discuss it.
And again, the difficulty is that if you specify a date certain that this is going to be tabled until, we may not be able to comply with the law during that time. That's why I'm very, very uncomfortable in specifying a date. But if you want to, and I don't know, Mary, we've had a lot of discussions on that, but is tabling, I think the tabling indefinitely is the appropriate manner, isn't it?
Probably so, since you don't know when you're gonna get the information.
Right.
And you have the hyper stuff you can talk about tomorrow, so you can table it indefinitely, and then it can be talked about at the agenda committee meeting that we're having tomorrow, when to schedule. But indefinitely means it can be scheduled anytime, versus if you say you're gonna table it to a specific meeting.
Right. So thank you for that
Either way, it
explanation.
can come up.
Yeah, it's just that if it's postponed to a certain date, then we can't,
Right.
unless I call a special meeting or
My
something.
recommendation is to postpone indefinitely.
Okay. Is there any additional discussion? If there is no additional discussion, I'm going to say that I think this is really, really important, not only for the IPERS portion, but the approving these when we had the information, and it's disconcerting to me that now, because during that discussion, all of this was discussed. And so I'm just very uncomfortable with not passing this, but it is up to the board. So I'll just leave it at that. Did you want to postpone the vote, or should I call for the vote?
I would like to postpone the vote.
So you want to make that motion?
I move that we postpone voting on 11.09 indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
You have to say either indefinitely.
I said
You said
indefinitely.
indefinitely. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let me keep all this straight. Okay, is there any discussion on this motion to postpone indefinitely? Director Gosa, you have anything to say about all this?
No, I don't.
You thinking, Director Gosa?
I don't have anything.
Okay, great. If there's no additional discussion, I will just say that I think it's absolutely wrong for us to do that. And I would encourage the board to not approve the motion to postpone indefinitely. Okay, but we'll call for the vote. Director DeSalvo.
And we're voting to postpone, correct?
We're voting on the motion that you made, which is to postpone indefinitely. And so that motion, if it passes, then we will not vote on the main motion. It'll just be a motion.
Yes.
Okay. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Mayfield.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Gosa.
No.
And my vote is no. The motion passes, and this motion which is the approval of the compensation package for non-bargaining, non-administrative employees, will be postponed indefinitely. So, thank you. There are no discussion items. Are there any administrative reports? Are there any board requests?
So I better put my name at the top.
What's that?
I said, I guess I'll put my name at the top.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too. Thank you. This request from Director Mayfield, dated today, 5/29, information request. Description of requests, stats for racial background of students in the program, and number of students involved for the last 3 years, male and female. Okay. Do you understand that? Okay, great. Thank you. Why are you requesting this information?
Help me judge whether it's an effective program for the money that we're spending on it.
Okay. All right, is there a second to the request?
Second.
Okay. When would you like the information?
For the next board meeting.
Mr. Schneeden, is that something, is that you can get that probably? Okay, thank you. Got two more. And this one, it isn't complete, but I'll fill out the rest of it. Board member, Director Johansson, date of request today. An agenda item, description of request. I want to talk about, I want the board to talk about proportionality and disproportionality. Why are you requesting this information or agenda item? Because it's been a really big deal recently, and I think it's important for the board to open up that discussion and talk about it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and when would you like it? Whenever reasonable. That could be tough. I have one more request. So, this is from Director Johansson, 529, agenda item. Description of request. I'd like the board to, oh, thank you. I'd like the board to discuss part of the, and I think it's in the vision statement. No, it's actually the mission statement. I'd like to discuss what does the mission statement mean. And the reason that I'm requesting this is that I've had this discussion in the AEA, and there are so many different interpretations of some of the words that we use in our mission statement. And so I thought it would be appropriate for us to have a common understanding of what some of those words mean. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I'll rewrite that. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
This meeting is adjourned